We're talking actors and directors who put on the shows.
We're talking playwrights and designers who you'll want to know.
From the very first rehearsal to the final curtain call.
We might be off Broadway, but we're talking about it all.
'Cause we're two local gals
with global pals. It's everything, everything, everything theater.
with Benita
And Ellen. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Everything Theater Podcast, the podcast where we talk about
everything theater. Hi there, everybody. I'm Benita Zahn.
And I'm Ellen Cribbs.
And woohoo, Ellen, you're in the midst of a run of a most fabulous production at Capitol Rep of A Midsummer Night's Dream. And if you haven't bought a ticket yet, do so. You must go see this, and you've got to see Ellen.
Yeah, it's a fun time. We're just all having a party on stage.
And it's obvious, and in many ways, a companion piece to A Midsummer Night's Dream is the show that's up right now at Bridge Street Theater in Catskill, Rude Mechanics, because, the ensemble, as it were, in A Midsummer Night's Dream, they're referred to as the mechanics.
Mechanicals, yeah.
The mechanicals, yes.
That's right.
And John Sowle and Steve Patterson, co-founders of Bridge Street Theater, join us now. So you got to, first of all, guys, I got to see Rude Mechanics.
Yes.
It's a romp. It's just strap in, hang on, go for the ride.
It's insane.
Tell us a little bit about that, and you couldn't have known that it was going to be playing at the same time as A Midsummer Night's Dream.
No,
we had
not
no
at
idea.
all.
We had no idea. Yeah, no, we actually Stephen is a friend or
A colleague.
colleague.
I worked on stage with Eric Hissam, who wrote the play and directed it.
And he sent us a script some time ago, and it had been, he's been working on it for years. I think it's an 8-year-old script actually, but had never been produced. And he sent it to Stephen just before COVID, I think. And Stephen read it and said, "Wow, this has been an interesting script, and it's a great role
For me.
For me." So he said, "Yeah, maybe we should do this." So this
You
was
play
yeah.
Good grief. The costume changes are almost as much as what Tanya
Well,
does.
particularly that last one. It's like, okay, am I going to actually make it? Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't want to give it away, but let's just say that if you saw Shakespeare in Love, where Ellen and I first performed together, the Queen costume has nothing on you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's definitely been a ride. We don't have a very long rehearsal period, and this show, is like a speeding train. You just got to grab on, and if it falters, the whole construct kind of falls apart. So it's been really exciting.
Why are they called the mechanics or the mechanicals in the show?
I think just because they are workmen. They're all of the characters in Midsummer Night's Dream are like blue collar workers. They're tradesmen and amateur actors, very amateur, and so yeah, and I love the fact that these two shows are running simultaneously right here in the Capital Region.
Well, Eric also, we went down to Washington, D.C. He was just in a production of The Tempest playing Prospero in a production in Washington at the Roundhouse Theater, and directed by Aaron Posner and Teller of Penn and Teller. So it was a very magical.
So Teller did all the magic.
The magic
for this production.
and Puck was, I'm not Puck. Ariel. Ariel was doing like magic tricks with cards during the course of it, and so it was very charming. And so we, enticed him to come up and direct it as well, which he was. We're not sure he wanted to do because, directors directing their own plays can be, who knows? It's
either really, really good or really, really bad.
But we figured he knew the play well and he knew the style well. He's done lots and lots of Shakespeare and of course he wrote this play, and he's been great, been really great with the actors.
So
And
let me just ask, and Stephen, this is really for you, as an actor, you and the director worked together on the character,
Mhm.
and working with the director who is the playwright,
yeah.
Yeah.
uh, is there a potential for it to be intrusive in character development in a way that one might not experience otherwise?
It can be, but yeah, I certainly wasn't in this case. It was so great having him there. This is the first time he was really seeing, how the play functioned in a physical production. He's had readings and other things before, but and he was going, okay, this doesn't work. So instantly it was rewritten, and we were changing it up throughout the entire rehearsal process.
Yeah.
Yeah. The crazy thing is that it's so hard for John and I. We're not huge comedy mavens. It's really difficult for us to find comedic scripts that we really like and that are really funny. Most comedies that are trying to be really funny tend to make us cringe. So when we found this one, we just went, okay, we got to find somebody really, really good to direct it, because that's not John's wheelhouse at all. This is almost a farce,
Mm.
and that isn't the kind of stuff that we generally do. So it was really, really wonderful to have Eric, who understood the style, understood exactly what he was after, and was able to really sort of steer the ship so we didn't crash on the shoals.
And Ellen, because you're on stage now, it's backstage, and everything sort of has gone wrong.
Oh,
So,
well, yeah, it's very much like the Mischief Company's plays, the play that goes wrong or noise is off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I think Patrick White just reviewed the show for Nippertown, and basically said it's a backstage or actually on stage panic attack of laughs. So
a great way to describe it. He came the night after I did, and just got to give a shout out to Jack Renfro, who is a Park Playhouse kid, all grown up.
Yeah,
is fabulous.
and we didn't know that when we cast him. We had no idea that he actually had that local connection. He was up in the Syracuse area for years, and he went to college there, and now he's living down in the city. And
yeah, he'd actually auditioned to or submitted to us for another play that we did 2 years ago, and we were looking for somebody, and we went through our
old audition tapes
and found him and went, oh, he might work. So we passed that along to Eric, and he really liked him, but we had no idea he was local at that point. So yeah, it's just that's just
I'm
the
sorry,
way.
I just got out of Dodge. I didn't stay after, but Jack, you've done great.
Yeah. He's great. Yeah.
And right, there's another connection, and I don't know if we talked about it the last time we chatted with you guys, but Stephen was part of Lexington Conservatory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the forerunner
of Cabaret.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stephen performed.
Yeah, I was in the company there. The company was up in Lexington, up on top of the mountain here, up from where we are in Catskill, from 1976, I think, until 1980. And then the core of the company moved up and formed Capitol Repertory.
Yeah, Steve Bouchard.
Their old space. Yeah.
Was it Stephen Bouchard? No.
Bruce Bouchard.
Bruce Bouchard.
Bruce Bouchard and Oakley Hall III was the original artistic director.
Yeah.
Lots of amazing stories about that place. That was really astounding. There's a wonderful documentary that was made about Oakley and about the theater and about his accident and everything else, that called The Loss of Nameless Things. And if you can find it, it's definitely something to watch.
And we did his play, Grinder Stand, when we first opened the theater. Actually, that was one of the early plays that we did. And it's a verse play, about Meriwether Lewis, and really, really an amazing piece. And so that was great. And we, doing it, we pulled in a lot of the old Lexington Conservatory people, came to see
to
it.
see that production.
And so that was great.
That was wonderful.
So tell us about what the rest of the season has in store for you guys. I think we last chatted with you guys during the whole COVID shutdown, and obviously that was fun. So how have you guys?
Adventure
challenge.
Yeah.
We came out of COVID. We did actually 3 plays in the fall of 2021, which was really challenging. But because we did that, we got a lot of money from New York State because they were encouraging people to do theater
to
and we
get
were
back on
theater.
stage.
So he did a show called
Miss Gulch Returns,
about Miss Gulch, the character in Wizard of Oz. It was a musical. Miss Gulch does a cabaret act about all her, bitterness about not being
her
given
career and
the
her
right
love life.
songs in the Wizard of Oz and her career. He and Stephen actually won or shared a best
solo performance
award, a Berkey Award from the Berkshire Theater Critics Association.
So that was great.
With what's her name? With
Harriet Harris.
Harriet Harris,
who did Eleanor Roosevelt. So it was Elmira Gulch and Eleanor Roosevelt. Took home the trophy that.
And then we ended that year with a production of Long Day's Journey into Night, which was like, what are you thinking about doing in the middle of COVID? A 3.5-hour play that people are going to have to come in masked, whatever, to do it. But it was a huge success for us, and it was really great. And we got 2 awards, Berkey Awards, for that show, actually. And then we went on last year. We did our regular 5-show season. So anyway, this year we're off again with 5 shows.
Rude Mechanics has one more weekend, this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So come see it if you can. Then we're doing a play by Hannah Moscovich, who is a Canadian playwright. Last year we did the U.S. premiere of a play called Sexual Misconduct of the Middle Classes, which got us in a little trouble with the Greene County legislature because we had sexual misconduct on our marquee.
Right next to the high school.
And they were, we're not going to give them money anymore.
Good thing it's not Tennessee, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Good thing we're not trying to do Rude Mechanics in Tennessee. There's so much gender swapping and so much drag and whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're doing
Shakespeare.
But she's a brilliant playwright, and so we're doing another play of hers called East of Berlin, which is about it's a complicated story, but Jewish overtones. It's about a kid who doesn't know that his father was a doctor, so-called doctor at Auschwitz. And discovers that, and it changes his life, obviously, because he didn't know that. So it's a very sensitive to the Jewish question, and a really, really really powerful play.
It's a total gut punch of a play. You get to the end of the play and it's like. So.
And then we're doing a play that we've managed to cast a local celebrity.
Yeah, we always do 2 shows in the spring and 3 shows in the fall, and our fall opener
is called I Am Barbie. And Benita Zahn has agreed to perform in this play.
But I am not Barbie.
She is not Barbie. However, she is playing Ruth Handler, who's the creator of Barbie, and a very interesting woman. Indeed, right? As you know.
It's, people have asked me, is it going to be like the movie? And my answer is a resounding no. This is really looking at the sociological impact that Barbie was hoped to have and did have.
Yeah. Yes.
And what happened to Ken?
Poor Ken with his painted on underpants.
Anyway, this is Barbie at her 60th birthday.
And she still looks exactly the same.
Looking fabulous. But, talking about, what her life meant to her and to us. But it's hilarious. I mean, it's very, very rude and, very, very, very intriguing. But, Ruth Handler is an amazing woman who has a story, which, you come to the show to find out the story. Yeah.
It's a very real woman's story.
Yeah. A real woman's story.
Very
yes.
much.
And she was very much a part of, a very important part of the women's movement.
Yeah.
Is that a coincidence that it's, that you chose this the same year that the Barbie movie came out, or was
no, not completely. I mean, we wanted to do this play
back in 2016
when we first opened the theater, but we couldn't find a Barbie.
We couldn't cast it.
We didn't have the reputation to bring in the people that we needed to make it happen. So we have our Barbie now, and so I think it'll be very interesting. It's a challenging piece just because it's it's
the tone is really hard to get right.
Yeah,
so
but
we're looking forward to it.
We hope to make it, but it should be great.
It's a challenge.
The challenge.
Yeah.
And then Steven is directing the well-known play that we've been doing the last couple of years, and we're doing the Glass Menagerie, and he's directing that. So that people have already bought tickets for that. So
yes, well,
the Glass Menagerie.
So many of the plays that we do, we love new works, we love unfamiliar works. We like stuff that's really kind of offbeat and quirky and challenging. But we try every year to do at least one show that has name recognition that people, really know. When we did Long Day's Journey a couple of years ago, last year we did
The Lion in Winter.
Lion in Winter to close our season, and this year we're doing Glass Menagerie. So
that always seems to be the question that's come up on the podcast a couple times of bringing audiences in, especially
how do you balance
work. Do you think it's because you have that one recognizable name in the season that it brings people into your more experimental stuff, or do you see a change in the ticket sales of your known work versus the more obscure work?
The known works usually sell far better, just because people know them and they're comfortable with them. But in terms of our season ticket sales, we knew when we formed this theater that what we wanted to do was stuff that people weren't going to be able to see anyplace else. We were going to do unfamiliar stuff and brand new stuff and commission things and try to devise works.
And I think that's what brings in the critics. The critics appreciate what we're doing. Brings in people from far away who can't see this kind of work anywhere else. So it's a mixed bag. It's a little bit.
We figured, if we were going to make our name in this region, we needed to offer something completely different.
And Steven's already done 5 productions of A Christmas Carol, so we're not going to do
Christmas
Carol. I mean, that's the cash cow of many, many regional theaters,
We'll leave that to others.
We'll leave that to others, yeah. So we don't do that. The last show of our season is a play called Sympathetic Magic by Lamfer Wilson. And the very first show we did up here after out of New York, we did 3 shows in New York as Caliuga Arts, and then we moved up here. And I worked with Laura Margolis at Stage Work, directing with her. And then we basically rented that theater to do shows. And the very first show we did up here was a production of The Mound Builders by Lamfer Wilson. And that's a fairly well-known, although not very often produced play. But the main character is a scientist, an archaeologist. This is another play, but nobody knows Sympathetic Magic. We go, what?
Even theater people have never heard of this.
So this is our, play by the forgotten play by, famous playwright. And it's a really, really brilliant play. We saw a terrible production of it in New York
City
a few years ago. And I said, that play doesn't work at all. It's a terrible play. And Steven said, here, read it. And I read it and went, oh my God, that's what it's about.
It's amazing how if you see a bad production of something,
Yeah.
how that colors your perspective. And for years, I was like that with Assassins.
Yeah.
Seen a very bad production of it.
Yeah.
And then when Owen Smith at Park Stage Company suggested we do that, and as the board president, I nixed it for 3 years. Timing was wrong, I thought, and the play. But then I really sat down, just like you said to John, to Stephen, read it. No, read it. And I did. I read it with a whole different, perspective. It ended up having a role in it, go figure. But is magic coming up so that Ellen and I can put it on our calendar and have a road trip.
Very good. Well, the dates. Yeah, the dates for the shows, Rude Mechanics plays through this Sunday, April 30th. East of Berlin is May 25th through June 4th. I Am Barbie will be August 31st through September 10th, my birthday. Glass
Good to know you're a Virgo. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Textbook Virgo. Menagerie is October 5th through the 15th. And Sympathetic Magic is November 9th through November 19th. We usually close out our season right before the Thanksgiving weekend.
And then we're also doing a summer show. We've the last 2 years we've done musicals with the high school kids. Our theater is right behind Catskill High, and during COVID, I mean in March of 2019, whatever it was, COVID. They were a week out of opening Pippin, and the school had to shut down. So they never got to do that. And then they didn't do one the next year at all. So we brought them in the summer after that.
Of 2021.
Of 2021. And we did the Addams Family Musical Quarantine Edition with the kids. And then last year we did
25th annual
Putnam County Spelling Bee. So this year we're doing Spamalot. So that's we're doing Spamalot in the summer. So that's kind of our.
It'll be with an all-student cast, and
that's a little bit our.
That's our Christmas Carol.
Our Christmas Carol, because
is our all-student musical.
It attracts big crowds because all the parents come every performance. So it's great. It's good for, although it's very expensive to do those shows, but we do get people in. So.
You said something interesting earlier, and I wonder if we could explore that a little. When a performer goes and auditions someplace and they don't get cast, sometimes it's, down mouth and, tuck your tail between your legs and head home. But how important is it? And you pointed that out with Jack Renfro, who is now doing a star turn in your show. How important is it for actors to get out and audition, even if they may not be right for your season, just to get a look-see?
Yeah, well, we always have at least one big, huge local audition every year, and the turnout for this year was phenomenal. It was great. And again, even if something isn't right for you in that particular season, it's great for us to know, okay, what's out there? That may color the choices of the plays that we do in subsequent seasons as well. And like I said, with Jack, he wasn't our favorite candidate for the role that we originally called him back for in Clarkston. But when we needed someone for this part in Rude Mechanics, we went back to our old audition tapes that we'd gotten from people and went, oh, this guy is perfect. So no, you want to get out. You want to get out as much as you can. Just get your face in front of people. You never know when that role is going to turn up, that it's going to be exactly right for you, or when somebody's going to drop out of a cast and you're going to go, wait a minute, who have we seen who might work in this part? And that, that happens a lot too. I was sort of the God emperor of that when we lived in San Francisco. I was constantly getting calls from theater companies who had lost an actor a week before opening and said, "Can you step in?" So I did a lot of that.
Back when he really could memorize lines.
Yeah, when I could actually memorize lines.
You had to memorize half the show. You're so much and in so many different characters. He's
it's
fabulous.
so painful.
Plus it doesn't stop. There are no pauses in this show, and if something is going a little awry, the whole rhythm breaks down, and it's just like, stay in there.
Don't live with an actor, though.
Working on lines at home, I almost drove him nuts.
Shut up!
Yeah.
How do you maintain that energy then in a show like that is so nonstop, where you just have to be fully focused and committed and keeping your energy up, doing that several nights in a row? What are your tricks? Do you have warm-ups? Is there something you do?
We definitely warm up, but no, with it's the play more than anything else here. I mean, it's one you just sort of grab onto. Once it starts, it doesn't stop, and you have to keep up with it. So, yeah, yeah. I make an entrance. I don't know, Benita. Yeah. I make an entrance in this show, about halfway through the play, where I'm climbing over a box at the theater. That's one of the stalls, and I, kind of climb over it and fall, and I have to do a forward roll. And I'm friggin' old. I can't do that no more. But yeah, I mean, to have those kind of physical things that are a necessary part of the thing really keeps that adrenaline pumping and keeps the energy high. And then we walk off stage and we collapse into a puddle of goo.
To that end, Ellen, if you would share with us, because then I wonder what they're doing, a little bit about your fight call.
Oh yeah. No, this is actually very well timed too, because right now I have a knee brace on. I tweaked my knee during a show on Saturday, and
oh dear,
ouch.
But, yeah, I mean, luckily it's doing fine. I think it's gonna be okay. It's more of a precaution than anything.
Yeah.
But we have a 15-minute fight call every day, because I'm part of the Lovers in Midsummer, so we have an epically long scene, Act 3, Scene 2 of Midsummer, as people know it, where it's highly physical. It's running, it's jumping, it's we got people rolling and doing all sorts of crazy
climbing all over one another. Yeah,
exactly, grabbing people, pushing people, and it's really important to have our bodies ready. So that fight call is essential. And actually, what I tweaked my knee on was something so simple. The whole fight scene was fine. It was a different scene where I had to run and cut someone off, and just the movement of like running and then stopping on my foot and twisting. Twisted my knee, and so then I had to ask them to adjust it, and we looked at it in fight call. We changed that move a little bit, and we're adding it to fight call now so that we can continue looking at it. So it's so important doing a physical show to make sure.
There's a fight call before this show.
There's a lot of fight choreography in Rude Mechanics, and there's some intimacy, and so every night before the show we do an intimacy call and a fight call.
Oh, by the way, Yvonne is coming down, who's
also in Midsummer.
Midsummer is coming down to be our intimacy coordinator for
East of
Berlin, which has some, challenging scenes in that regard.
Yvonne Perry, yes, it's a small.
Well, we were looking around. I mean, it seems like actors, young people, especially now, really kind of expect that attention. To the areas that are intimate in the plays, and we've never really had to deal with that before, but we are starting to become aware of that.
You have to be sensitive to those.
But let me jump in. Ellen and I have talked about this on the podcast about inappropriate actions in intimacy scenes.
Yes.
And having experienced that, I think you did too, Ellen.
Yep.
It's It's very troubling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really throws off the rhythm of the cast and how things proceed.
Yeah.
So that awareness and that you guys are so attentive to it and bringing in Yvonne, who's trained in this, that's hats off.
Right. Well, I think that it's important to have somebody else with an eye and is trained to kind of know how to deal with those situations.
Well, just to make sure that your artists are
supported.
comfortable.
Yeah.
That they feel taken care of.
Yeah. On the other hand, our background, is from San Francisco theater, where
Anything
wet, and Steven was advertised in one show. He did a Shakespeare show in which come see Steven as you've never seen him before, completely clothed.
Yeah, in our early years in San Francisco, I had done a one-man show that I'd created about Jean Genet, his early prison years, and there was a lot of nudity in it. And suddenly, I was renowned for all I was getting cast in were shows in which I had to have full frontal nudity, and it was so like, I can really do other things. I have this Shakespearean background.
And also he can sing, so then he started doing musicals and was getting cast in
nothing but musicals.
Only in musicals. So you get typecast in certain things. So that's why we got him, because he can do all that stuff. Whatever we need, he does. He does not only Lord Straight, maybe,
in Rhythm Mechanics,
and the Shakespeare and the Ghost of Queen Elizabeth I. So yes, he has some variety there.
Well, again, there's so many things you have to be willing just to take that leap when you get cast. As you can see,
this is not his normal hairline.
This is not my hairline.
I did a double take. I went,
yeah, what? Is that a wig cap? No.
That's not the fellow I saw a few weeks back.
He hates his. He keeps saying he hates his hair, and people are going, "What? No, because he actually doesn't care."
I have so much.
So yeah. Anyway, so he's we got him because he's flexible and can do pretty much anything. I think he missed his calling. He should have been. Born.
Back in the days when there were
30 years earlier, where he could have been a repertory company actor, where he could have really been in one company and been doing everything. So we're kind of making that happen now. Though.
Sort of. Jack of all trades, master of none. But yeah.
So guys, it's always great seeing you. You've got a wonderful season coming up, and for the record, we would have interviewed you even if I wasn't cast.
Wasn't going to be cast in part.
But I'm glad I was.
Oh, we can't wait to have you.
It'll be great. Yeah, that's wonderful.
But really, so all the best with the rest of the season. And again, bravo to everybody.
Thanks so much, Benita. And thank you, Ellen.
Of course. It's always fun talking to you guys.
Okay, thanks.
And for our listeners, we'll catch you next time. I'm Ellen Cripps.
And I'm Benita Zahn. Take care.
Thank you so much for listening to the Everything Theater podcast. Special thanks goes out to Alice Grinling for our photography and Justin Friello for composing our amazing theme song. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to share your thoughts or what's going on in your theater community, you can reach out to us on social media or through our email at everythingtheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Till next time, it's everything